These are my 2024 CDL predictions. We're gonna go through everything from champs and MVP all the way to most improved player. So sit back, relax, and make sure to put your predictions in the comments. We will start it off with the big one of the most important ones, and that is most valuable player. And for MVP, I picked Scrap. Obviously, Scrap being rookie of the year last year was also one of the best players in the league. In my opinion, and the opinion of many, he was the third best player last year. Coming off this really hot season, he's also looked at as the best player on a really good Toronto Ultra team. And I think will really help set Scrap up for an MVP season is he plays with three guys who are super unselfish. They make a lot of the right plays and they also play winning COD. When you look at Kleenex, Envoy, and Insight, all of them are very unselfish. They're not too big on what their stats look like. They will make whatever play is necessary for their team to win. And the Toronto Ultra have been very, very consistent with Kleenex and Insight on the team. So with Toronto looking like a top 3, top 4 team and Scrap looking like a top 3 player, I think this is a perfect mixture for him to have a really good MVP season. Now let's talk about one of the hardest awards to predict, and that is Rookie of the Year. There are a lot of really good rookies coming into the league this season. We got guys like Abuza, Linz, Gwyn, Snoopy, and even more than that. But for me, I'm going to be picking Gwyn as my Rookie of the Year prediction. Thus far, he looks really good in scrims. From the scrim screenshots and the videos I've seen on Twitter, he looks like he's playing really well. And he also was a great player in Challengers last year, being one of the 4 players to win the 2023 championship. But I think what also really helps him with this, and this actually goes off of what I said about Scrap for MVP, I think he's playing on a really good team to be set up for success to win this award. Not only is he playing with a really good veteran like Clayster, who I think he could learn a lot from, but he also has an opportunity on this team because when you look at the roster of Clayster, Gwyn, Real, and GodRx, there really isn't a star on that team, right? There isn't one guy you look at that you definitely know is going to be like the Hydras of the world, like the Scraps of the world, who are going to put up the big stats. So I think this gives Gwyn a really big opportunity to be that guy on his team. And obviously, if you want to win Rookie of the Year, you probably either need to put up really good stats or your team needs to be really good. And with the way the top 4 currently looks, I do think he's in a good position to put up good stats and also have his team be a contender for, top 6. And I think that sets him up for a Rookie of the Year award winning. Now let's move on into the Most Improved Player award. And bouncing off of what I said for Gwyn, I picked his teammate Clayster. Last season was definitely not Clay's best year. A lot of people even thought he was likely going to retire. Of course, individually, he didn't play very great, and he also didn't really have the team success. He ended with a .93 overall last season. And of course, as KD is not everything, it is a stat for a lot of casual fans to understand. But thus far, Clay is looking really, really good in scrims. I feel like not only his statistics, but his team looks like they're playing really well in scrims. And what I said for Gwyn applies here as well. This team doesn't have a star. They look like a bunch of players who can all do their role. And I think this puts Clayster in a good spot to be a really good main AR player. And with the way ARs are looking this season, how powerful they are, I think he definitely can really improve his game this season and win this Most Improved Player award. Now for a quick one, what team do I think is going to be the #1 seed heading into champs? And I picked Atlanta FaZe. I mean, FaZe has been the #1 seed every year of the CDL, right? I think they've literally been the #1 seed every single year. I really don't think that changes. I think this FaZe team might be on paper the best one we've ever seen. And I think, they look incredible in scrims. They're probably going to get #1 seed again. Now let's talk about major winners. Now I didn't divvy this up by who's going to win each major, but there are 4 majors this year. And I do think we're going to have 4 different winners for each major. Now I do think the top 4 are all going to win one. I think Optic, FaZe, Ultra, and NYSL all do get one major this year. I think the Optic team looks really, really good. I think with Pred and Kenny, this team is very, very, very good and very competitive. I think FaZe is FaZe. NYSL, I do think should be able to get another one. That team is just incredible, and they played so well last year. And Ultra, I think, one of the teams that improved the most with their single player swap they did, Envoy for Hixie. Part of me almost said FaZe was going to win 2 majors and NYSL wasn't going to win a major, but to give them benefit of the doubt because of how good they were last year, I think all 4 of the top 4 teams are going to win a major. And now we only have 2 categories left. One we're going to do now is my on the rise players. These are players that weren't really looked at as top players last year, but I think are going to be looked at as those top 15, maybe even top 10 guys for this coming season. This is kind of like my long shot type of award, right? This is one where I'm likely not going to get it correct. But starting it off, my number one player, my first player for this award is Ghosty. I really do think any of the LA Thieves guys can win this award. I think all of them are looked at as underdogs coming into this year, none of them really having an exceptional year. Ghosty probably had the best year last year in Modern Warfare 2 out of these guys, but I think individually he's going to play really, really good this year. He has high upside. LA Thieves look really good in scrims, and Ghosty actually seems like, from what I'm seeing in scrims so far, he's playing a slightly different role where he's not like the Hill kitten anymore. It looks like I'm seeing a lot of Cammy and Joe Deceives in the Hill, and Ghosty seems to be doing more slaying, which I think when you're looking at how good a player is, we tend to lean towards the guys who get more kills. Maybe that's not correct, but it is just what we tend to do as fans and viewers. And he ended with a 0.97 overall last year. I definitely think he can get that well above a 1 this year. My second on the rise player is going to be Vivid. Last year, Vivid had a pretty down year, obviously being dropped from the Boston Breach team. He ended with a 0.91 overall, and as a fast-paced entry SMG, you're not expected to, you know, fry and get high KDs. But Vivid is looking good in scrims individually. He's looking good in the Breaking Point League, which has been very entertaining. He is number 1 in the leaderboard right now for the BPL. And as I said, he is a good fast-paced SMG, and I think in a higher TTK game like we have in Modern Warfare 3, these fast-paced entry SMGs are going to be more effective because they're not going to die as fast, right? Like, if you're trying to break a hill and Vivid's the first guy in, as he goes into the hill, in MW2, he was just dead in like 2 bullets, right? He just had no chance. He was lucky if he got a kill. But in MW3, I really think he'll be able to pick up 1, maybe even damage a second before he is killed because of the higher TTK. And last but not least, my third player for on the rise is going to be Attach. I really think Attach is poised for a big bounce back year this season. I think this Vegas Legion team actually looks really good. If you watch my power ranking video that I did last week or 2 weeks ago, I had Vegas as the number 6 power rank team in my personal opinion. I think Attach is going to be good. He was one of the best players in Vanguard, for those that don't know or maybe didn't watch. He was really, really good in Vanguard. And with the way ARs look blessed this season, with how good ARs are and how weak SMGs are, I think Attach is poised for a good season. He ended with a 1.01 overall last year, so just above a 1 KD. And I think this year he's going to be even better. And last but not least, the final award is, of course, who do I think is going to win COD Champs in 2024? This one was hard, right? I think you could pick any of these top 4 teams, Optic, FaZe, NYSL, or Ultra. Part of me really wants to pick Ultra because I think Scrap is going to have an incredible year. I think Envoy was a great pickup for this team. In my heart and in my brain, I don't think I can pick anyone else than Atlanta FaZe. Like I said earlier, this FaZe team looks like the best team on paper we've seen for them, which is absolutely insane considering how good they've been. You got a BZ coming off of probably the best season of his career. You got Celium coming off another amazing year. Obviously, he's been so good throughout CDL. Simp, people think he's been bad. I think Simp has still been incredible. He's just been playing a different role. And then you're bringing in Draza, a guy who I personally really, really like. As an LA Thieves fan myself, I know how good Draza can be. This team's going to be unstoppable in Search and Destroy. They're going to be even better in Respawn now that Cell can play a slower paced main AR, and that won't hinder the team because Draz is going to play that faster paced flex to keep up with the Tiny Terrors. And I just think looking at all these teams, this FaZe team looks really, really hard to beat. I know I'm going to have people in the comments who are saying, oh, well, Optic is 10-1 or whatever their record is against them in head-to-head in the last couple years. Yes, Optic is very good against FaZe in the last couple of years. Pred and Kenny are both players who can play really good against FaZe, and obviously they're on Optic now. But head-to-head record does not correlate to which team is going to win champs or which team's going to win events. So I really do think that it's going to be FaZe that wins champs, although I think it could be any of the top 4. And I'd also love to see one of these teams outside the top 4 or outside the on-paper top 4 come in and steal a major, steal a champs victory. But yeah, that is my CDL 2024 predictions. Like I said earlier, put it in the comments who you have to win. If you just want to tell me who you got for like champs, MVP, and rookie of the year, that would be really cool to see what you guys are all picking. And if you want to see more CDL content, make sure to sub to the channel. 99% of people who watch my videos are not subbed. So if you do want more content, I'm going to be pumping out a ton of CDL content throughout the season. Just consider hitting the subscribe button, and hopefully I'll see you all in the next video.